Hello? Oop, my hello's on. Hello off. Hello, Ryuya, Queerly. Congratulations, you're first, Ryuya. Congratulations, you're not first. Oops, I didn't change my thing. I didn't change my thing. Thing changed. Okay. So, what we're working at today is one, I don't want to produce more leftovers right now. So, I'm making something that I'm going to be able to finish in its entirety today. Two, we got quite a lot of these pork jowls, so we are going to use more of that as well. And three, I got one of these lettuce with the roots on them for $1. So that's the idea. I've got a couple of tomatoes. This one is looking a little bit gnarly. I think if we cut the top off, the bottom half of it is still good. This one is in great shape. So if one of them is, if that one is not so good below the midway mark, then we can always pivot to the other one. So I'm not trapped. I'm not trapped there. The jowl, we're going to take the skin off this time. The little chewy bits of skin in the pie last week, not very nice. That I think is the one downside I would say to the jowl is it still has the skin on the one side. Otherwise, we're going to treat it kind of like a bacon steak, a slab thing. And then I need to combine these into some concept of a food that takes at least a modicum of effort to produce. So I'm not sure what shape this is all going to form into. Either we're going to use the lettuce leaves as a wrap, or I'm going to make some kind of a bready thing. I've got some fresh mozzarella, and I don't have any fresh basil. We'll have to use dried basil, but I do have homegrown dried basil. So that's this here. That's this here. So I'm not sure exactly what all this is gonna. Oh my goodness, Flemish. 17 months. You know what that is? That's almost a year. Amazing. Thank you so much. 17 months. Wow. I can't believe it's been that long. Wow. You know, I just had a thought. I just had a thought. I just had a thought. What's it called? What's that stuff called? It's called panzanella. Oh my god. Oh my god. Really? 19 months. Can we get more? Can we get more what? Hype? A non-yeasted quick bread, possibly. And then I read your message, and then I immediately thought in my head, what's that name of that bread salad thing? We could turn this into a panzanella. Probably saying that wrong, because it's got a double L in it, and I don't remember the Italian tradition for double L. Quick bread. Quick bread. We could try quick bread. rather than do research on the quick bread, I'm going to grab the bread book. There's bound to be a quick bread in the bread book. Bread. So we've got these books. Because we've got the books. Okay, let's slide to the right. Jim Leahy's book about bread. We don't have time for the no-knead bread. Little sandwiches. Panzanella. Bread salad. It's even in this one. It says he wants stale bread, though. Nope, he doesn't wanna. He doesn't want to do quick breads. He wants to do yeasted breads. He wants to do yeasted breads. Let's grab a different book. Let's grab a different book. The Colossal Tome. How to Cook Everything. There you go, right there. Cooking isn't magic, and it shouldn't. Table of contents. Bread, 829. Quick bread, 841. And then we pick one that we think sounds good. Scones, coffee cake, pita. Ooh, I haven't made pita in a minute. Pita is usually yeasted and then only briefly risen. Popovers, shortbread, unleavened flatbreads. Pita's not fully unleavened, though. Then we're getting into yeasted breads. Chapati. Or we could try naan. This is the yeasted pita. Right? Pita has to rise. I'm gonna nix pita. Chef Pete Snaith. Hello. Welcome. Thank you for the raid. Come on in. How's it going? What were you up to? Mish. I gotta spell this right. Snaith. There you go. Mish, did you bring the people? Because you came with them. We're doing some planning. I think we're gonna push for some manner of unleavened flatbread. Hi, welcome in, Raiders. What were you up to? I'm using pork jowls and this $1 head of lettuce, and part of this real gnarly looking tomato. Bob. Well, Bob's not here. Bob's not here, man. Maria suggested a bread, and we're doing some research on a quick bread that I don't have to yeast, so that I can do it real quick. Hi, Bob. How's it going? Welcome in. I think I'm going to put away Mark Bettman. How to Cook Everything with Mark Bettman, except not everything, because some of the things I was looking for weren't in here. Mm. So, the problem I was having with the other book is that all the quick breads were sweet. I should just make naan, right? But naan wants yeast too. These all want yeast, but naan doesn't rise very much. Are we making bread? Everything is going to want to double. Anyways, how's it going? Welcome in. A basic quick bread. There you go. No yeasting, no kneading, no rising. Exactly. You can even do it in a loaf pan. Okay. We're gonna throw this together real quick. We're gonna slide over here. Buttermilk. I had a buttermilk, but I don't think I used it in the time that it told me I was supposed to, so it might be the grossest thing in the world. Or we could just stick with wraps. Flamingo. Hi. What do you think, Flamingo? Do I make bread all of a sudden? Do I out of nowhere do this bread making thing, or do we nix the bread? Oh God. Apparently I'm putting all the weight of the world on Flamingo to decide. Well, the idea is I've got pork jowl, which is like bacon. I've got this lettuce with the roots on that I got for $1 today, and I've got tomatoes. So I was going to do a BLT thing. My original idea was to do some sort of wrap, and then I also have cheese and some basil and some dressing, and I was thinking I could also cross it with a caprese. I wasn't originally intending to do any sort of bread. You mentioned a quick bread. I wasn't intending it because I didn't want to go through the rising process. It's also kind of cold, so anything that needs to be leavened with yeast is going to be real slow. But a quick bread could be done. Also, and I don't have any stale bread, but well, I cut these about as unevenly as I possibly could. I don't have any stale bread, but what jumped into my head when Ryu said bread was panzanella, which is stale bread salad. Wolf. Hi. It's not bacon. It's face meat. Waffles are a kind of bread. Let's do that. That is true. Pancakes are also a kind of bread. Ooh. Ooh, what if we did pancakes? We're removing the skin. The skin went gnarly and unpleasant last time, and I don't want to deal with that again. So take a sharp knife and run it along the edge and get rid of the skin. I'm sure the skin can be done nicely, but I don't want to bother. Drying bread is not the same as staling bread. It would dry it out into like croutons, but getting proper stale bread can't be done without time. Could I make tortilla? I don't have a press to make tortilla. So they'd be rustic. I don't know. I did offhandedly mention the possibility of savory pancake last time with the turkey stock, chicken stock, Cornish hen stock, whatever it was. I could attempt a savory pancake batter. Well, I was originally thinking like a wrap. So a crepe definitely can support a wrap. That's a wrap. These are going to be a little weird. That one's a little weird. We're going to start frying stuff in a big old pan. In my expensive Griswold cast iron. Okay, sounds like we want to do a crepe. Sounds like you guys are settling on a crepe. Okay, I think I can wrangle that. I think that's doable. Wash off the porky hands. My expensive Griswold cast iron griddle pan. Crepe. Crepe. Okay. These aren't recipes. Ugh, I hate when that happens. It's just a list. Because off the top of my head, I don't know the recipe for crepes. Griswold's, yes, the Griswolds are in Christmas Vacation. Um, but also Griswold is a cast iron foundry that is famous for very, very good cast iron. And it has also been out of business for a long time, so it is a collectible. Crepe. Okay. Milk, eggs, butter, salt, flour. And then it's got a filling listed, but I'll just ignore that. Make the crepes. Combine flour and salt, whisk in the milk, the eggs, and the melted butter. Refrigerate for an hour. So let's do that while the pork jowls are heating up. I guess we're going to put the loaf pan away because we are skipping. Clatter. Okay. Okay? It's okay. How much does this make? 14. I don't think I need 14. 7. 5/8 of a cup. I hate that. Can I go for a third? Ugh. If you make the batter after, it will render the pork useless. I don't know what that means, and I'm afraid that it's either a joke or actually good advice, and I don't know which. Because we're rendering the pork. That's a thing we're doing. Well then, please elaborate. Trip! Trip! Because you have to wait an hour for the batter. Yeah, because you got to rest the batter. But the pork is going to slowly fry for a bit here. We're still debating what we're making a little bit. I think we've settled on BLT Caprese crepes. And then I need to adjust this crepe recipe by a third. Because I don't need 14 of these things. And we're frying up some extremely thick slabs of pork jowl, which is my bacon stand-in today, which we will be periodically gently flipping. I think my heat is a little bit too high. Because what I'm looking for is for these things to like render down. They're starting to look a little shrimpy, as in like shrimps. And there's plenty more of this as well. If I ended up needing more, I can always cut more. I don't want to make, I don't, one of the goals today is no leftover. I have too many leftovers. I produce too many leftovers. I still have leftovers from the last thing. Ugh. Egg. People are monsters. You people are monsters. What do you mean flour mixture? There's no flour mixture. There's no mixture of flour. It's just flour. Egg. By the way, these eggs, this last batch of eggs, have been fabulous. Look at that yolk. Look at that yolk. Fabulous. Yeah, I'm bulking up. That's why I got the pork jowls. It's like 85% fat. I'm going to get fat. One egg. A third of a quarter teaspoon of salt. So a tiny pinch of salt. 2 tablespoons of butter melted. And a third of a cup and a quarter of milk. I don't even know how to do that one. It's a... That's a third. A little bit more. And if I just put melted butter in there, it's going to harden up because the milk is cold. Because of course the milk is cold. I've tried that before. I do not understand recipes that call for melted butter to be mixed into a otherwise cold thing. Some butter. It's such a strange thing. Salt and then flour. I think they wanted the salt to go into the flour, but it just dissolves. So, whatevs. I need a little bowl, and I'm going to melt a melter. If we break our butter up a little bit, it will melt more easily. In the microwave. Back to the pig bits. They're looking pretty good. They're looking pretty good. They're starting to get a little bit of a crust. I might cut more later, depending. Butter did not quite melt in 10 seconds. We'll give it another 10. Oh, so what's everybody else up to today? How's winter going? If it's winter where you are, I don't know. Some places don't have winter in December. Must be nice. Get out the flour tower, the tower of flour. Trip is off work, and it was 28. Balmy, a balmy 28. I was off today, but I'm heading into the heavy season. When I woke up, it was -1 Fahrenheit. Wow, that is a very orange yolk. It really oranged up my milk mixture here. We're going to attempt to whisk the butter in to the milk mixture so that it doesn't form little weird hard lumps. I mean, folks are wearing shorts here at -1. One of my coworkers wears sandals every day. And we had a snowstorm this month, or this week, and another one tomorrow. Okay, that's and you're supposed to. I'm adding the dries to the wets because I want to. Also, where are you? You're a different color. You've been purple for ever. All of a sudden. All of a sudden. Ryu's a different color. Yeah, that looks like a crepe batter, right? Right? I think so. I think so. Let's see how these guys are coming. Got a lot of fat in the pan. I absolutely do not want it sweet. Sweet is absolutely not the goal here. I am not familiar with crepes. Crepes are not really my thing in general. I am going to use a large non-stick for this. I don't trust myself to do crepes otherwise. These guys are looking pretty crispy and rendered out. Maybe not entirely on that side of that one, but... You've never made them yourself. You're a coward. I have never made them myself either. But we're doing it today. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Today's the day when we find out. Let's pull these things out. And see how they turned. That one for sure is done. And I'm inclined to say that one for sure is done. The big one here felt like it needed a little bit more on that, just that end, but the color is pretty good now, so we'll pull that one. And then the two little halfsies were probably the first ones to be done, so let's pull those. Everything's been pulled. Everything's been pulled. We're pulling it all at the same time. We've done it. It's pulled. Heat off. Move the pan to the back. This is also going to be the first test of these pork jowls as a primary meat. They were simply a seasoning in our last outing. Oh. The little piece fell in. Now I got to get some chopsticks out. What do we decide? We convinced our way around to crepes. Get the little bit out of there. There's a lot of fat on those things. We talked our way around to crepes. So that's what the plan is. The recipe that I pulled up for crepes says they have to rest, and I'm not entirely sure why. Strain the mixture. So probably rest in order to make sure it's fully hydrated, and then strain it to make sure there's no lumps. Oh! Glad I read the next thing. Small nonstick. I don't have a properly small nonstick. Or do I? How small is small? This sounds technical. Uh, possibly that one. Possibly that one. Straining out the lumps seems pretentious. Yeah, what if I like lumps? What if we enjoy lumps? I feel like I want the crepes to be bigger than this pan can accommodate, so I'm not going to use this pan. I'm going to use the gray one. That's the decision. I feel like the thing I want wants to be about the size of the bottom of this pan. So that's the pan I'm using. I was going to taste test some of our jowl as is, because this is its first outing as a primary meat. It's hot, it's crispy on the outside, it's tender and soft on the inside. There's still a little bit of chew to it, but it's not like bouncy. We got the fat rendered through. It's very rich. It is not salty. And that's the thing. These things, unlike bacon, these are not cured. They're just smoked. There's probably a little bit of salt in them, but they're not like salted. Actually, it says they are cured, but they don't taste very salty. They're less salty than bacon, for sure. Yeah, no, I like that. That's good. It definitely wants some freshness around it. It's quite rich. And we're not doing a filling. So here's what we're doing. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get all this stuff ready. We're going to get a plate out. And put it nearby. Handy. Doesn't say anything. It actually does not. Good job, All Recipes. You never tell us to remove the crepe from the pan. Quality. Quality. This. Heat. Two tablespoons. 2 tablespoons is 1/8 of a cup. Okay. I hear fire engines. I hear fire. It's the second time today I've heard fire trucks, actually. I hope nothing significant is happening. Something significant obviously is happening, but I hope it's not a crisis. The last time I heard fire trucks multiple times in a day, the house across the street was on fire. Let me look out the window real quick to make sure that's not happening. Nope. Headed off into the distance. Off into the distance they go. Um, I'm gonna want to. Okay, 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 okay. What's everybody else having for dinner? You guys have convinced me to do something that I have never even considered doing before. Okay, I clearly need a larger scoop so it can all go in at once. First one's always weird, right? That's the rule of pancakes. Well, that one's all fucked up. It's my well, it's not my first crepe ever. You gotta flip it, Mish. It says so, and I don't know how to do that. Because it just says flip crepe and cook until the other side has turned brown. And this one stuck to itself when I flipped it. So it's dead. I've killed it. Well, la dee da. I've never made a crepe. I can still say confidently right now that I have never made a crepe. Because that's not a crepe. Let's see how it tastes. Maybe we need all the batter just because I'm going to make a bunch of mistakes. It tastes really good. It tastes really good. Oh, it tastes super good. Oh my god. It's incredibly delicious. Destroy the evidence. It's gone. No mistake was made here. Try it again. Butter. Jen, hello, welcome. We're probably should have made more batter because I'm going to screw these up a whole bunch. Now you're supposed to cook until the top of the crepe is no longer wet and the bottom turns light brown. And I have no way of seeing the bottom. I tried using a tablespoon scoop, but I needed 2 scoops. I needed 3 scoops. It is not too late to make more crepe batter, and we might end up doing that. We're also getting out a different spatula. I hear more sirens. I feel like the way I want to do this is just because it's a good nonstick. Those sirens are outside my house. Also, I'm getting judged for my inability to make crepe by Mish. Oh, crepe's sake, I can't get under it cleanly. There we go. There. I flipped it. I almost did it in one go. I needed 2 tools, but I almost did it. I will say the first one, the pile of mess, I just ate it in one go. It was incredibly delicious. It was superior deliciousness. I would definitely attempt to make these again because wow, it was, considering how simple it is, it was buttery and eggy and chewy and like amazing. But yeah, I've never made them before, and now I've made one. I can't call that first one a. I can't call the first one a crepe. And now it's let go, so I could probably. Yeah. Yeah. Mish says. Mish says there's none. What's that? What would you call that then? Did I do it wrong? My feelings won't be hurt. Judge me. This is the first one, right there. There's no evidence of a previous one. I will say I'm not super good at the shaping. Not super good at the shaping. Bookwoman! Hello. I did. I flipped one successfully. We might need more batter. How's it going? 99 more to go. Yeah, this feels like something I should practice. This feels like one of those chefy techniques where, yeah, whip up some crepes would be a thing. The flavor was really good on the first one. Sorry, not the first one. The flavor was really good on the one that doesn't exist anymore. Oh, okay. I just didn't wait long enough because that one's skating around. That one's skating around, which means I should be able to get under it. I will get fat. I might. Or maybe I'm already fat, and you guys can't tell because I'm always aproned up. I'm only fat on my leg. Yes. Always film from the... no, I'm a streamer. Streamer has no legs. Everyone knows streamer has no legs. Jen, you're not first. Congratulations. Also, hi, Jen. And then I should be able to... Nope. Didn't flip that one. Rescue. Rescue the flap. With your fingers. Just going with your fingers. I think the ones I'm making are a significantly different size than the ones the recipe expected me to make. So our estimation of it making 14 is not correct. So I should have just made a half recipe. What do you mean if I fry them in a bit of butter? I've added butter to every single one of these. I've buttered the pan before every one. I'm practicing. Moisten. Moisten. Moist. What I had done is I turned the pan heat down a little bit after that first one because I thought I might have to add more batter in it more than once. And then I didn't turn it back up after I got more confident in the second one. So that's what's happening. Only me. I'm pretty sure I got the idea from somewhere. Nope, 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 nope. Nope, where's my spatula? Where did I put the spatula? I set it down somewhere. Shoot, no, shoot, no, what the hell? Where did I? Frick, frick. It's gonna be stuck together. I have an omelet. Yeah. I can do an omelet. Fold it right in half. You guys are all judging me. I'm usually so like, oh man, oh man. I'm so used to you guys going ooh and ah and all this kind of stuff, and now you're all judging me. Getting judged. I found the spatula. It's here. But I didn't find it in time to use it. The first flip is harder because it's still kind of sticky. The second flip is easier. Oh. Never declare something to be easy on camera. We're getting a little bit more color on this one. Like that. There we go. Little brown speckles. I think we can get one more out of what I made here. But it's going to be a small one. Thank you, Mish. That one I think is the best one so far. It looks good to me. I think cooking these with chopsticks is very helpful because you can pick them up and look. Little baby one. One little baby one. I think the pan is a little bit too hot now. I think if I made them all this size, I could have flipped them quite easily. But this pan over it is a Target brand pan. Yeah, it is a Target brand pan. I got this one at a thrift store, of course. It was miraculous. It was in utterly pristine, like factory new condition, to the point that it still had all the labels on it. The nonstick is quite good. Yeah, it's a fine pan, and they're not terribly expensive new because they're a store brand thing. One little baby crepe. Yep, one little baby crepe. I will say the crepe batter, delicious. Or the crepe, the messed up one, the first one. Make a tiny one to use up the stuff, of course. You can't. Ha ha! We got the flip. Practice flipping with the little ones. Part of flipping stuff in the pan, it comes down to the shape of the pan. And I am not accustomed to flipping in this pan. The sides are a little bit too tall. My favorite flipping pan is this one, which looks quite similar, but the slope on the sides is much more shallow, and I can usually get just a perfect flip over in that pan, although I have not tried it with crepes. So who knows? But little baby. Okay. And that's all my batter. And that's all my batter. I've also seen like bespoke crepe pans and the upside down crepe pan. That one was weird. I've seen so many YouTube people do the upside down crepe pan as a test thing. It's like an inside out pan, so it's domed instead of inside. So it's domed, and you heat it up, and you dip it directly in the bowl of batter. And then you pull it out, and it cooks the crepe, and then so you hold it up, and it cooks the crepe, and then you pop it into a plate. It is such a weird thing. It is such a weird, specific thing. I'm not getting one. If I find one at a thrift store, I would consider it. What else are we making today? Did I see the Ninja Waffle Iron? I have not seen the Ninja Waffle Iron. Not that one. Let's use this. Where did it go? Where did it go? Where have you gone? Mayonnaise. There we go. Sir Kensington's classic mayonnaise. There's no command for Discord. There's no command for anything. I do it all manually. This is how the channel works. You guys do exclamation mark commands, and I respond manually to them like a monster. It is not Duke's mayo. It is Sir Kensington's classic mayonnaise that I got on sale. Is it the right Discord? It should be. We did invite someone to the wrong Discord once. It's mayonnaise. I actually just watched a review of mayonnaises. I'm going to commit to a smaller bowl. It was America's Test Kitchen. They were reviewing mayonnaises. They did not like Sir Kensington's mayonnaise. They had some good reasons. They said it was kind of bland. They liked Duke's. And I agree. This isn't very tangy. This isn't a... It isn't a very tangy mayonnaise. It's a very flat tasting mayonnaise. Their two favorites were Duke's and Hellman's. Which, you know, fair. I think I prefer Duke's. I think it has a little more flavor to it. Yeah, so Kensington definitely does really good sauces. I think they wanted their mayonnaise to be different from the mainstream ones, and it didn't quite land. Is what happened. I don't think that Jen can do exclamation mark command. I think that nobody can. Because the secret is there's no bot running to listen to those commands. You get this off of here. But yeah, Duke's is good mayonnaise. I tried the store brand one once. It was real bad. You can't get this. I can't. Yeah, the reason I have no sounds, no commands, no nothing is I am not running a bot at all, which is my fault for never having set up my bot. The secret is, the secret is, it's installed. Firebot's on my computer, and I'm just not using it. Tiny whisk. We are going to make a thing. I am attempting to make a balsamic mayonnaise. We don't have real balsamic. We have fake balsamic because real balsamic costs multiple hundreds of dollars. And fake balsamic was on sale. I love when we make a thing. Yeah, you know, sometimes you just make a thing. Give it a taste. Mmm, creamy, vinegary. A little bit of that, which is black pepper, and a little bit of ooh, no. Seasoning, because it improves the taste. Um, Real balsamic, Jen, comes from two particular regions of central Italy. Um, and it has only one ingredient, and that is grape must. And it is entirely made by a long, laborious aging process. And it is extremely complex, very flavorful. It comes out thick and syrupy um, just from the aging process. The kind of balsamic you typically see at the store is this kind. This one used a bunch of Italian words, but it's balsamic vinegar of Modena. This stuff is typically made from red wine vinegar and grape must concentrates to get you the flavor, and it is liquidy. It is the consistency of a vinegar. And it gets you some of that flavor, but not the real thing. This stuff can be produced in large bulk batches anywhere in the world and quite quickly. The real stuff can only be made in a small province of central Italy, and it takes many years to make a single batch of it because it has to be very slowly aged. So the difference between the real stuff and the fake stuff is the real stuff is this insane bespoke super product that nobody else in the world is even like attempting to make. You will find sometime if you're looking for a nice balsamic amongst the ones that are affordable, look for ones where the first ingredient is grape must, because then they're at least putting in some effort to put that forward. Ideally, pick one that has no added vinegar, and definitely pick one that has no added sugar. A lot of the ones will add sugar in an attempt to get that syrupy consistency, but that makes them much, much sweeter than the real thing. And the one thing that none of them really capture is the complex savory notes that you get from that long aging, which is why I just added a little dash of this stuff. This is essentially a little bit of salt, and roasted wheat gluten. So it's like the toasty parts of wheat flavor. And that should give us a little bit more dimension. Maggi is, it's amazing that it's still just called seasoning. We call it Maggi seasoning because of the brand, but officially the product is just called seasoning. um, but to give us a little bit more dimension in this. So if you ever find real balsamic, first of all, it's going to cost a lot of money, but it might be worth it. It's one of those things where, yeah, it's really, really expensive, but it's also like unique and famously really, really good. One of the stores around here has a $10 bottle that proudly advertises that it is 65% grape must and that it is thickened by aging. So it is like doing part of the work, and it's got that syrupy consistency to it without added sugars. So I'll try that one eventually. It's $10 for a slightly smaller bottle than this. So it can get a little price. They can get a little pricey. Anything that's aged always, of course, gets more expensive because you're paying them for all that extra time they have to put in. That's our little bacon stub. We need to cut this. We need to cut this gnarly tomato. We need to start by cutting the complete top half off of it, and then we look. And yeah, the bottom half looks fine. So I will be discarding the gnarly top half and utilizing the bottom half. What I'm doing here when I'm poking is I'm just getting a little notch started so that there's something for the edge of the blade to grab onto so that I don't have to apply quite as much pressure while I'm doing the slice, because I don't want to crush the tomato. That worked pretty well, though. Which means we have a perfect fresh tomato for next time to do something with. Tomato, our lettuce with the roots on, our butter lettuce with the roots still attached. It was getting a little wilty. They do, but this one was already kind of old, so hence the $1. And some of the leaves are falling off. But yeah, it was $1, and the roots are in good shape, so I'm considering trying to plant it, or put it in at least put it in a glass. I picked out 4 leaves. We don't need this anymore. Okay, tomato, lettuce, bacon, which I'm thinking I want to cut into. I kind of want to cut the tomatoes the long way through and cut these guys, but I could make big chunky guys. See, I've got 3 usable crepes, so we could do 3 with these 3. I've got 4 slices of tomato plus the hat, the tomato hat. I think I want to cut these the long way. Oops. Which would have been easier to do before I sliced them, and would have made slicing them easier as well. And then these guys, they formed these little shrimp tails as they cooked, so we probably want we're going to cut off their tails. I think lengthwise, because then they'll be sort of still long pieces, but it'll be easier to fold them up. Let's donate a little bit to you, a little bit to you. And then everybody gets a little bit of the crispy ones. Cooking up the pork jowls really did actually work out pretty well. And then these guys can probably just stay as is. And I did say the pork jowl is the primary meat. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the star of the show today. In a proper BLT, the bacon is not the star. It's the primary meat, but it's meant to be a supporting player to the tomato. Now, it's not tomato season, so I don't know how well this tomato is going to come out, but I've also got some cheese. It says open here, but there doesn't seem to be a separate... Oh, there it is. Found it. Some Belgiosio. Mmm. 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 That's a tasty meatball. Boy, that first crepe is really pale. We want a plate. What plate do we want? What plate do we want today? Three mms on cheese? Yeah. I just like cheese. What plate do we want today? I think I'm going for a square. I think I want a square today. I think I want a rectangle today. I think I want this one. Controversial pick. Nice mutton, lettuce, tomato sandwich, where the mutton is nice and lean and the tomatoes are perky. I don't know where to find mutton at all. That is something that I would love to work with and have just zero potential source for. Not sure why I rinsed my fingers off. I'm just going to touch more of the same things. We're going to salt our tomato. Always salt your tomato. And also, the whole thing is going to need a little bit of salt because of the... Break up the cheese? I don't think so. Next. I veto breaking up the cheese. At least on that first one. We can try it on the second one. Second one's the small one, the baby one. Just a wee little lad of a crepe. The balsamic mayo has not been forgotten. Oh no, it has not. Tear our cheese apart. Tomato, our friend. I will say, I think the main part is tastier than the crispy little end bit, the little tail on these. We'll just put the salt on that tomato. This one's the one that's going to be the least structurally sound because it is the smallest one. But I think we can still get it flipped onto the plate. And it looks bigger because I don't fold the end under. Right, right, right. I'm right. And then our third one has very crispy edges compared to the first ones. Third one I think looks good. I think if with a little more practice, I will be on point with the crepes. I think I'm going to enjoy the crispy edges. Always salt your tomatoes. Mmm. Salty. Now wrap it in a bigger crepe. I don't have a bigger crepe. This is the biggest one. We're doing 3. We're doing a 3-pack of crepes. We're loading up all the remaining bacon bits into this one. We're remembering that I wanted to push it up slightly. This way. Yeah, crepe number 3 is the best one. It also has the most structural integrity of the three, I think. Except for the hole that I poked in it with the chopsticks. Like so. And then I realized that I didn't put the cheese in that one. And then I realized I didn't put the cheese in number 3. Bob realized it first. Thank you, Bob. We save it. We open it up. We take our cheese. Yes, no cheese, absolute travesty. Gotta have the cheese. But it's fine. It's saved. That one had structural integrity, so I was able to unfold it without completely destroying it. And now there's a little bit of lettuce poking out because I changed how it fit. Okay, now I wash my hands for real. And then we walk into the other room, grab a mystery item, and reveal the mystery item to be this: a plastic bottle. Chefing it with a spoon? No. No, I'm using a plastic bottle. Like so. And the finishing touch it does look a little bit like a maple drizzle, doesn't it? Yeah, I wish the balsamic mayonnaise was a little bit darker brown, but... Mish, you don't know what a Long John donut is? You are missing out, my friend. You are missing out on life. It's a donut that instead of being round with a hole in the middle is this shape. It's a rectangle. It's a long rectangle. They're often not filled with anything, like a regular donut. They can be filled, but just like a regular donut can be filled. But they're not required to be filled. Okay, put away the chiz. And there they are. And that's what we made for dinner today. The sprinkle on the top was some of my homegrown basil. I crushed it up because I forgot to put any on the inside or in the mayonnaise drizzle. We're going to give it just a little bit of black pepper as well. Just a wee bit. Okay. Put a garnish on the plate for a hit of color. Ryu says chives. I'm going to eat that piece of lettuce. I can do chives. Butter lettuce. Tastes kind of lettucey. Oh, Mr. Chive, you need a drink. You're looking a little bit parched. I'll have to water him. All the plants are kind of sad right now. They're not getting enough light, and it's been kind of chilly in their window. Mish is learning about American cuisine. It's a it's a nightmare. We're aware it's a nightmare. The thing is, we don't think it's not a nightmare. We're aware that it's a nightmare. We're fully aware of how horrific our cuisine is, but we do it anyways. The Scots also have a remarkable ability to make kind of horrific food. We're adding a little pop of butter lettuce in the corner. Hamburgers are from Hamburg, I think. Let's take a picture of this so I can come back and eat it and tell you all about it, how it looks nothing like it tastes or something. I forget how to do this. I forget how this part of it's supposed to go, right? I take a bite and then I go, ugh, and then you're like, not very good, huh? That's usually how it goes. If I recall. I would never have come up with crepes on my own. I will completely say that. This dish would not exist if I was not doing this live on the internet. We taste. They should all be the same. But this one had the best crepe. So we're going to start with that one. We lose integrity a little bit. It tries to unfold. Mmm. Things happened. There was a journey just then. I need another bite. I need another bite to tell you about the journey. Okay. I could feel the resistance as I hit the pork, but then it cuts through. But then it falls out. Okay, up front. The balsamic mayonnaise hits first. Savory, acidic, creamy. That's the first thing that hits you. And then the texture of the lettuce comes in next. Interestingly, you get that crisp of the lettuce and you get the moisture of the tomato. Those come in next. Followed by the flavor of cheese from downtown. This is perhaps a cheese-dominant flavor profile once you get to the cheese. But the surprise ringer come hurtling in from the end is the pork jowl. It is surprisingly a subtle hit. It also offers some interesting texture changes because there's crispy bits and chewy bits. But either way, the flavor of it is coming in right at the end, not at the beginning. And the crepe itself is a little bit lost. It has a chewy texture, a little bit of a butteriness I think it's giving me, but I'm not getting a ton of flavor. I think I've overwhelmed it with fillings, especially the cheese and the balsamic stuff. I like it. I can't say it's the most balanced dish I've ever made. In fact, the flavors are kind of unbalanced. We could try flavoring the batter next time. We definitely could try flavoring the batter. We definitely could make a lot of changes to this. I think if I planned this out, we could do a really good job. We could make crepe enchiladas. That sounds dramatic. Was I transported to France? No, I was transported to Queens, I guess. It was a little. It's definitely out of balance. It's definitely not like coming together and singing. It's nice to have the freshness of the fresh veggies with the savoriness. I think I think I absolutely should have put the bacon pieces in, or the jowl pieces in, hot and sizzling. Because I think we are missing a temperature difference. Everything in here is kind of room temp. The crepe is so thin that it cooled off. The veggies are room temp. The cheese was fridge cold. The the pork was slightly warm, but by the time I got to the eating part of it, it had equalized with everything. So I think we're missing a temperature change. I actually think that the thick cut is quite good because it gives you the nice sort of textural changes. Super glad we cut the skin off. I would not want to be gnawing on the hard smoked skin. Um, every time I found a piece of that in the pie, I was disappointed in myself. Uh, I think this stuff, the flavor is good. I think it wants to be a little bit more balsamic-y, but I also want it to be thicker, and I'm not sure how to do both of those. Other than using real balsamic so that I don't have as much water in it to begin with. That'd probably be the best option. In fact, if I had that, I probably would just do a straight drizzle with balsamic and then a second drizzle with mayonnaise. Which would also give us more visual appeal. It would look more like a, whatchamacallit, the Japanese cabbage pancake with the sauce. Okonomiyaki. Okonomiyaki with the brown sauce and the white sauce sort of zigzagged over the top of them. I think that would make this, because the sauce kind of is the same color as the crepe, which for constructing the visual appeal of a plate of food isn't the best decision. I have Kewpie mayo, not just Kewpie mayo, the real stuff that comes in the unmarked bottle with only Japanese characters embossed on it. I also think the mayonnaise would probably work well inside, and then the balsamic drizzle for the top. This also would be better in the summer with fresh, ripe, in-season tomatoes. You can buy both Kewpies at Woodman's. I can get them both there as well, but usually they're out of this one. They have the one with the colored bottle that is the American recipe, and then they have just a couple of the Japanese recipe. There is a difference. The American one uses an oil blend, and the Japanese one uses only one kind of oil, and the Japanese one also has more yolk in it, so it gives you a richer flavor. They're not like dramatically different, but they're noticeably different. And it's easy to tell which one you have because the Japanese one comes in a bottle that looks like this. And the non-Japanese one comes in a bottle that looks like this, but it's got like colorized printing directly on the bottle. Also, the bottle that they put this in is like really soft. There's probably yeah. I think most places are getting the kind that comes in the clean bottle like that, the Japanese style one. We've got one last thing to do before we end. We got one last little thing to do here. Yeah, the way this is sold, I don't know about where you are, but the way this is sold in America is there's a bag around the outside of this that has all the like nutrition information and stuff on it. And then the bottle itself is just this plain bottle that just has the baby and the Japanese characters. Um, yeah, the one with the bag around it, that's the Japanese stuff. Little baby crepe. Plum syrup. And then we eat it. Mm. The crepes are very nice. They're a little bit eggy. They're rich and buttery. Mm. Your dog can make his own crepes. Mish. Um, and yes, Bob, the bottle has no structural integrity. The bottle the Japanese mayo comes in is almost a bag itself. It is so squishy. Oh my god. Oh, I didn't pin the Discord link. Pinned. Yeah. So I guess that's all she wrote today. We're not going to have any leftovers because I didn't want any more leftovers. We used up the gnarly looking tomato. We got to play with the pork jowls as a primary protein. We got to learn something new, practice something new, which is crepes, which I can definitely see how I need to practice them, but I don't think it'll take that long to get fairly consistent crepes. And they're real tasty. Probably because of the butter and egg yolk, which are both real tasty. But yeah, I'll gain 10 pounds. I will not, because I will not have time to do a bunch of extra cooking, because man, oh man, the work is picking up at work. If you're unaware, I work at a game store, board game store in the local shopping mall. That's my day job. And, well, 'tis the season, and the traffic has definitely picked up. And I've a million hours of schedule. Um, it's wonderfully nerdy. Most of the year, it's quite chill as well. It picks up just for a couple weeks. Right now, it's starting. Which brings us to next week, Monday. I won't be able to start at 5 o'clock, which is my normal start time. It's when I started today. I will attempt to show up, but it will be late that day because of work. And unlike other days where I can push it off to later in the week, I am locked up for the entire week. So if I don't do it on that Monday, if I can't make it, we are out of luck. It is just not happening. So I will make every attempt to show up next Monday. I will be late. And if I'm not here and if I can't make it, I'll let you know, and then we're shut down for the week. The following Monday, I should be able to make it. The one immediately before Christmas, I should be able to make that one. But yeah. So, something simple and quick and tasty. Yes, quick unsub, just in case. Do it in advance. Don't wait. Anyways, thanks for showing up. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for the ideas. Again, I would never have come up with crepes without you guys. And now I've learned something. I gestured at them, but you couldn't see my hand, so I'm gesturing at them again. Let's see who's on. Rate us out. Drop us off so I can polish these things off. They came out really well. The first one was weird, like pancakes, like any pancakes. The first one was weird. The second one was a little bit better. The third one was weird again because I was losing confidence, or I didn't lose confidence. I had too much confidence, and it caused me to mess it up. And then the fourth one, I was starting to catch the how-to on it. So, who is on at 7 o'clock on today? Not a lot of people, actually. From my follow list. Out in the wider, broader world, there's lots of people on. What do you guys think? Where should we go? Let's see. Avi's been on for 6 hours. Joe's been on for 6 hours. Mish says Earth Toast. Earth Toast. Brown butter, Rice Krispies, sweet, salty. Sure. I'll take your advice, Mish. We're going to go say hi to a new person. I already said thanks. Thanks for the subs from scrolling. Flemish and Maria. And we got a hype train from that. And thank you to Chef Pete. It's nice. For the raid. Oh yes, and thank you to Bob for unsubbing. Let's see, I already said potential issues with next week. We'll see what happens with that. And yeah. So if you got any ideas for something easy and quick for next week, shoot them at me. Because we're going to be in a weird, place with it. Weird place. And now I'm going to go put some moisturizer on my hands because the number of times I washed them with this dry weather, they are all cracking up. So that's the next thing. But I'll stick around to say hi to Earth Toast. Princess Wave.